Welcome back, besties. I'm deciding to switch things up a little bit. You may recall in my past couple of videos, I've stated that I have not been feeling well. I've been having a bunch of headaches, and with all those headaches comes some brain fog, and I'm having a hard time just processing what I'm reading right now. So I decided, because Valentine's Day is coming up, why don't I just spend the entire week reading some romance books? I feel like that is something that my brain can process right now. My other reason for wanting to read romance books is because that is just personally what I'm in the mood to read right now. I don't know if that is particularly because Valentine's Day is coming up and your girl does not have a Valentine's. We'll be celebrating it alone. Romance is just what I want to read right now. It is what I'm in the mood for. So I'm allowing myself to read whatever I want. I do have a tentative TBR, but if I'm feeling like I want to read something a bit different, then I will go ahead and just switch it up. So let's look at my tentative TBR. So the first book that I'm thinking of reading is The Pumpkin Spice Cafe by Lori Gilmore. From my understanding, this is a cozy small town romance. And while preparing my TBR, I did realize that this book is aggressively hetero. I don't know why, but in my brain, when I think of cozy, I just always think that it's sapphic or gay in some way. But that's okay. I can forgive this book for being straight. So this book is following Jeannie, who I believe inherits a coffee shop, and she moves into this small town, and then she gets into a relationship with some guy from the small town. I really don't know much about this book other than that it is cozy, but cozy is exactly what my brain wants to be able to process right now and is capable of doing. So this is what we're going to read first. And then the next two books are the last two books in a series. And it's been a while. Actually, I had to check. I think it was like last year and sometime in the summer since I read a book by this author. I don't know why it's taking me this long, but the next book I want to read is Reckless by Elsie Silver. This is the second to last book in the Chestnut Spring series. I do know that this book is following Winter, who is Summer's sister from the first book, and Theo, who is a bull rider who was mentioned also in the first book. I do know that there is surprise pregnancy in this book, and if you guys know, surprise pregnancy is my least favorite trope of all time. So it worries me that I might not like this book, but I do want to read it and give Elsie Silver a chance because I did quite enjoy her last book in the series. I think that one's Powerless. So we're just gonna give Elsie Silver the benefit of the doubt here. And you might have already guessed it, but the next book I want to read is Hopeless by Elsie Silver. And we are following Bo, who is one of the brothers in the Eaton family, and the girl Bailey, who is a bartender. I do know that this is a huge age gap romance. And it also says in the back of the book that the girl Bailey, that she is a virgin. That kind of worries me because I don't think that I'm gonna like having a huge age gap between these two, obviously him being older and then her also being a virgin, but this is also like fake dating or fake marriage. But other than that, I don't know much about this book. I don't know which one I'm more concerned about, whether that be Reckless or Hopeless, but I'm just gonna go into both of these books having extremely low hopes. And then I do want to read a fourth book in this video, but I'm not sure, so I'm just gonna mention the two that I'm kind of like waffling between reading. So the first one I'm thinking about reading is Praise by Sarah Kate. I've never read a Sarah Kate book before. I'm picking this up purely because I did see Riley Marie mention this in a video that I watched. I don't think it was like one of her recent videos, but this is apparently the first book in the Salacious Players Club. And this is apparently a very, very smutty book. So what this book is about is the main girl, I think her name is Charlie or Charlotte, gets into a relationship with her ex-boyfriend's dad. I have never read a book with the ex-boyfriend's dad trope, but the dad in this book, he owns a sex club. So I'm pretty sure that things are about to get real freaky in this book. I know the first three books that I mentioned, Pumpkin Spice Cafe, Reckless, and I want to say Effortless so bad, but I know that's not it. What is it? Hopeless. Hopeless are, I guess you would classify them as like middle of the road spicy, and this one is like on the higher end of spicy. And then the other book that I'm waffling between reading for this video is Pucking Wild, which I know a lot of you out there are gonna be like, why do you want to read that, Lexi? You absolutely hated Pucking Around. Pucking Around was on my worst books of 2024. But here is the thing. I have heard that this is not poly. Not that I have a problem with poly, I just think that the poly in Pucking Around was not done well. So I'm curious to see how Emily Rath writes romance between a couple that's not poly. And I've heard that this is good plus size representation, which you don't see a lot in books these days. It's always, he's so big, she's so little, and that I don't quite like that. I'm excited to see some plus size representation in this book, and apparently there's good bi representation in this book too. So I am overall curious to read this book. Hey, you know, I'll give anything a second chance. I will give Emily Rath a second chance. I will give this series a second chance and kind of just see where it lands for me. So this is the tentative TBR. I definitely will not be reading all 5 books in this video, more like 4 of them. So we'll see. Let's just get started with the Pumpkin Spice Cafe. Okay, friends, I have finished Pumpkin Spice Cafe, and I think I'm gonna give it 4 stars. This is really cute. This is really cozy. This is exactly what I needed. My brain needed to process something so simple. Also, this was like 300 pages, but the font was so huge that it was a quick read. And now I could tell you more about the story. So Jeannie, she did inherit, like I said before, a coffee shop from her aunt, and this is really her like trials and tribulations of like learning how to manage that coffee shop. I mean, she has like some workers, I think his name is Norman, and then a couple of like college or high school age students that work for her. And she comes from like Boston, but the town that she lives in is Dream Harbor, is like a small town, like cozy small town. And she decides to take on this coffee shop endeavor because she was like working as like an administrative assistant for this like CEO guy for a very long time. And then CEO guy, like he ended up dying and passing away. And then Jeannie was like, what is my life? She was basically like, I need to work in order to live, but I don't want to live to work. You know what I mean? So that's why she takes on this coffee shop endeavor. And then first night there, she meets this guy named Logan, who is a farmer. He's dropping off some pumpkins, but there is what she thinks is like a ghost or someone trying to break into like her apartment because she keeps on hearing like scratches at the door. And Logan, he's like, why are you attacking me? And she's like, I thought you were like an intruder or something. And these two, Logan and Jeannie, they fell in love very, very quickly. Like it was very insta-lovey. But you know what? I was like, it's fine. It's cute cozy romance. It's fine. And then Logan's problem is that he falls for people too quickly. So there was this girl that he was in love with named Lucy that he proposed to in a very extravagant kind of way, and she rejected him. So he's very worried about Jeannie because he's like, I don't want to fall for this girl if she is just going to be here for like a short time and then wants to go back to Boston to like live the city life. So they're both like very wary of like getting into this relationship, but they both know that they really, really like each other. And then you have your whole cast of crew of like background characters, people who I know who are going to be like the main love interest in the second book. I've already bought like, I think the next one is like the Cinnamon Bun Bakery and then the Christmas Tree Farm or something like that. What this book is giving is that it's giving Laura Gilmore, who I believe that's not your real name, author here, I think that's a pen name. I have never watched a single episode of Gilmore Girls in my entire life, but I could see why our author Laura Gilmore wanted to write some romances set in that kind of like Stars Hollow world, because I would say like these books are good if you want to pick something up that's gonna be quick, it's gonna be easy, it's gonna hit the right spot in the brain if you're tired of reading like heavy fantasy. I will say that this is a book that I picked up right after finishing The Will of the Many, which I read for like a different video. Who knows when that video is going to come out? And this is exactly what I needed. I did not need some kind of like high fantasy type of thing. My brain is barely processing any kind of information right now. So this is exactly what I needed. So 4 stars to this book. And now we're going to move on to the next book, which is Reckless by Elsie Silver. I did mention before that I was nervous to read this one. So why don't we get started and just see what I think. Maybe this will be a DNF, but let's just get started. Sorry to have to hop on here so quickly after giving you that update from the Pumpkin Spice Cafe, but apparently I had 3 packages waiting for me all day long that my mom didn't tell me about. So we're just gonna open that up together. Also, my dog is right there, so if you can hear click clacking, it's because she has really long nails right now and she needs to get that cut. So she's gonna be a little click clacking. So the first package is something about from Book Babe Designs, and I love her stuff. She has normally done like t-shirts, but she did come out with some like winter knit sweaters end of last year, and then she had another sweater come out that I was like, I like that, I would like to buy it. So I did buy this with my own money. Okay, so this is cute. I do like this. I don't know if you can see this. That's what it looks like. This is like a crew neck sweater. I think it's fuzzy inside. Yeah, it's a little bit like fuzzy inside. Sorry it's so dark, but you know, I gotta live in darkness these days. Might wear this tomorrow when I go to get my doctor's appointment. I don't know if I mentioned that before, that I was gonna go get a nerve block in my head tomorrow, but yeah, I'm gonna get that tomorrow, and I might wear this tomorrow. So that's the first thing. And then the second package is not gonna be that exciting at all. So the second package is just medication. I don't want to give all that personal information on there, but this is my dog's medication that she needs to take. I have it mail ordered to me because I don't want to go to the vet to pick it up. So I have it mailed to me. Was this camera crooked the entire time? Oh well. And then the last box, which is what I'm really mostly excited for. I finally got into Mystic's box and was able to subscribe to them. They have like a waitlist that is forever long. I think I've been waiting for like a year to get into their subscription box, but I finally got in. I don't think this is like one of their subscriptions. I think this is just one that you can buy off of their like website, but their like actual subscriptions, I finally got into that. But this is one that I bought before I got into the subscription, and I know what's inside of this. This is a special edition of a book that I recently bought, or I didn't recently buy it. I bought it last year, but it's a special edition of a book. No, not right now, not right now. Well, I can hug you later. I can hug you later. This is a special edition of a book that I bought last year. Now I have not read this book, but when I bought it last year, I was definitely like, oh my God, Jennifer Hartman can do no wrong, because I had read at that point Lotus, Still Beating, and The Stars Are on Our Side, and I loved all those books. This book I bought before I read Catch the Sun, and if you've seen my worst books of 2024, then you know that I did not like Catch the Sun. I thought it was quite bad. So I was so confident that when going forward that I was gonna like all of Jennifer Hartman's books, but after Catch the Sun, I was like, So this makes me nervous that I have a special edition, nice copy of this particular book that I might not like. Oh, it's hardcover. I didn't think this was going to be hardcover. And that book is Older by Jennifer Hartman. Now, maybe the lighting of this is not good, but this book I bought last year, and I was so convinced that I was going to like every single book that Jennifer Hartman put out, because like I said, I liked the 3 books that she wrote in, I don't know what that series is called, if it is a series. And then I read Catch the Sun, and I was like, I do not like Catch the Sun whatsoever. But then we have this book, Older, that I have not read yet. Maybe I'll bump it up on my TBR. Maybe I'll read it in this video even. We'll see. But this is a hardcover. I did not expect it to be hardcover. Let's just remove the dust jacket. Oh yeah. Yeah, I do see that is nice. And it is sprayed edges. And then look at the back. That is really nice. I don't think it's signed. No, it's not signed. Look, the end pages. I think they're the same. Yeah, they're the same. Yeah, it's not signed, which is fine. I did not expect this to be hardcover, but it's really nice. I really like it. I'm nervous because what if I don't like this? What is this, another Catch the Sun? I'm nervous. I want to read this soon though. The lighting is so not good, but like I said, we gotta live in darkness. We have got to live in darkness. I don't even know what this book is about. Please don't let it be a huge age gap romance. Oh, please don't let it be a huge age gap romance. That would be so bad. That would be so bad. I'm nervous. But anyway, that's the haul for you guys. Oh my God. I have some really exciting news. Oh man, I was waiting for this news. Sorry to be intentionally vague, but I was waiting for this news for quite a while, literally since December, waiting to find out if this thing was going to happen or not. I have just been waiting anxiously. This news I was waiting on because a lot of people have put out their goals for 2024, both like personally and like reading goals. And I haven't come out with this video yet because I was waiting for this particular news. I'm just going to say it here. I applied for grad school back in mid-December. I'd actually been working on the application since like, I want to say beginning of November I started working on it. And I had a former manager who I'm like still very close with to this day, who encouraged me to apply to grad school, and she wrote a letter of recommendation for me. I had very like low expectations because the school that I applied to is a very prestigious school. One could consider it like an Ivy of the Midwest. I don't have that fantastic of grades from undergrad, so I was just like, I'm not going to get into this program. So I was keeping my hopes really low. But I actually, as I was laying down here and reading my book, reading Reckless, I got the decision came in through my email, the email that said like the decision was ready for me. Before I even like opened up that email, I was just like, let me take a pause, take a break, lower my expectations, just go into opening this decision letter knowing that you didn't get in and that we could just move on with our day. But the first sentence was, congratulations, we're admitting you to the program. So what did I apply for? I applied to get a master's of science in regulatory compliance. The career field that I'm in is in medical device and the quality world. So this is a degree that's going to particularly advance my career in the field that I'm currently in. Also, the reason I'm getting this degree is because a lot of jobs in regulatory compliance are fully remote, which is something that I personally feel like I need to continue doing given like my health and how going into an office has impacted me like not just like my health, but also my mental health. Just working remotely is so much better for me, and I want to continue to do that. And so in order to continue to do that and like to be in the regulatory space, like a master's degree is going to go a very long way. And if someday I am at the point where I can go back and work in person, then I can go ahead and do that, having like a master's degree and like jump into leadership like pretty quickly. So I'm just so excited. I fully expected to not get into this program, like 100%. I had like very low expectations because like I said, it is a very prestigious university. So I'm very excited. I already went into the portal and accepted the offer. That is some very exciting news that literally just happened as I was reading this book. So this book, I'm halfway through it. My bookmark fell out of it. I'm so sorry. Here's the thing about this book. I'm going to give you the download. So we are following Winter, who is Summer's sister from the first book. Winter is a doctor. She was married to this guy. I think his name is Rob. I'm already forgetting the names in here, but let's call him Rob. He is an asshole. He's a very controlling man. He cheated on Winter and did some really bad things this summer. Anyway, my camera battery is about to die. We're back. Sorry about that. What was I saying? At the very beginning of the book, Winter is kind of having a little bit of a mentee bee because she had a fight with Rob because she's like, I'm divorcing you. You're a horrible, horrible man. So she calls Winter and she's like, hey, Winter, what are you doing right now? Basically, because she's like, this man has destroyed my relationship with my sister, along with like how Winter and Summer grew up, and she wants to be closer to Summer. So she's calling Summer and she's like, hey, Summer, what are you doing? Summer's like, oh, I'm having a get together at my house with, the whole entire like Eaton family. Like, why don't you stop on by? Sorry, the camera's shaking. It's like, why don't you go ahead and stop on by and have a meal with us? So she's driving, it's snowing out, and she's out of the gas station and she sees the guy and she's like, that's a good looking guy. Turns out that is Theo from the first book, who is a bull rider, I think. And Theo is also heading over to like the Eaton Ranch to have like dinner with the Eaton family. So he's driving behind Summer, and Summer's like not driving erratically, but she's being careful in the snow, and Theo's like, this woman driving erratically. So they get to the same place and they kind of have like, I don't know, you want to call it like a meet cute, but they like have a little argument, and Theo's like attracted to her because she's like, oh, this woman's hot-headed, she does what she wants, she says what's on her mind. So he's like immediately attracted to her. And then after like the gathering is over, Summer's like, I'm gonna go back to the hotel that she's staying at because obviously she doesn't want to be with like her husband Rob anymore. And Theo's like, oh, I'm staying at that hotel too. Well, I'll, drive with you. And she's like, just drive behind me and just make sure that, I get there safely. So they get to the hotel and the sparks are flying, but I guess they don't want to admit it to each other. And they have this deal that they will get their pent-up feelings out with each other for one night and one night only. And they write like the contract down on the coaster being like, we are gonna fuck for one night and one night only, and then we're gonna go our separate ways and never speak of it again. So that's what happened, and Theo immediately knows that he is attracted to this woman, he wants to be with this woman. Winter, actually, Winter is like, I am attracted to this man, but I don't see a future with this man. And so she like goes about her business. She's a doctor, and some time has passed and she starts to have like really weird symptoms. She's nauseous. She has like pee all the time. And she's like, I think I might be pregnant. So she takes a test and she's like, yeah, I'm pregnant. So she is like, I need to reach out to Theo, and Summer helps Winter get, or is it maybe Willa? I don't remember who helps get Theo's phone number, and Winter's texting him and she's like, hey, you need to call me because I have some news for you. And Theo's like, well, whatever you have to say, you can say it via text. And she's like, are you really sure about that? And he's like, yeah, just say it via text. She's like, yeah, I'm pregnant. It's yours. Like, thought you should know that. And Theo's response is like, thanks for the information, basically. And she's like, that's it. This man doesn't want to be involved with the baby at all. And then flash forward 18 months. Okay. The baby is like now 9 months old, and Winter is pissed at Theo because she's like, I didn't know this man was going to be a deadbeat like that. Like, he doesn't want anything to do with his daughter. And she has kept mom's secret who the baby daddy is. And I was so ready to hate Theo for ghosting her and acting the way that he is, but it is revealed, and this is a little bit of a spoiler, that Theo's like text messages or his social media is being managed by someone else, not him, at the time that Winter was giving him this news. So he never saw the text message, so he was like completely oblivious. But now that he knows that the baby is his, he is like wanting to be a part of the kid's life. He's like, I've missed so much. Here's the thing that I've learned about, because like I mentioned I don't like children, and so I was nervous going into the book because there is such a huge baby focus and it is surprise pregnancy that I was ready to hate everything about this book. But here's the thing that I learned about myself. I can deal with kids in the book as long as the kid is a baby and it doesn't speak. Like, no talking, zero talking. The baby is there, but we never hear from the baby. We barely see the baby. The baby is mentioned in passing. Okay, this is very much the story about Winter and Theo. And also, I was under the impression that Theo was like 21, 22, and that Winter was in her 30s. I stand corrected on that because I was ready to hate this age gap romance, because like if you flip that in reverse and the woman is 21, 22 and the guy is in his 30s, and be like, it's gross. And I was ready to like be like, the age gap, blah, blah, blah. But it is confirmed in the very beginning of the book that Theo, he is 26 and Winter is 28. So I'm fine with that. And also, the thing that I'm really, really liking about this book is that Winter has come off as a bit of a bitch in the previous book, and she's coming off as also a little bit of a bitch in this book, but I can relate to being a bitch. So I'm actually really liking this aspect of it, and I really, really like their dynamic. So I'm pleasantly surprised that I'm liking this book. So pleasantly surprised. I'm halfway through it. I want to read more. I think I might finish it today. So let me get back to reading. I have finished Reckless. Did I read this in a day? Yes, I did. I did not intend to do that. I actually really enjoyed this, which is a huge shocker to me because there is baby focus in this. I really, really liked Winter and Theo's relationship, and I appreciated that there was no third act miscommunication or like breakup. There was something that happened that caused Winter to be upset with Theo, and like rightfully so, but it was resolved within a couple of chapters. Like it was not strung out at all. Like when the last like 80% of the book where they had to come together as like a team to solve like a problem or something that was like threatening their relationship, I guess is a better way to put it, and they worked really, really well together. So I quite thoroughly enjoyed this one. I'm gonna give it 4 stars. I'm so surprised to say that I'm giving this 4 stars, but I am. I really want to start, what is the last one? Hopeless next. But I was thinking of maybe reading a different book in between Reckless and Hopeless just to kind of break up, like reading Elsa Silver. But I thought the purpose of these videos is to just read whatever I want to read, and right now what I want to read is to read Hopeless. So that is exactly what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna read Hopeless next. I just love this vibe of me reading whatever the hell I want to read. So what Hopeless is about, so we are following Bailey, who is a bartender in like Chestnut Springs, like a local bar, and then we're following Bo, who I think is maybe the second oldest of the Eaton brothers. Bo is a military man. The fact that there is like a military aspect in this book is kind of giving me the ick. And in the previous books, this is kind of like a minor spoiler, but in the previous books, Bo did like go MIA, and they found him and he had like severe burns on his legs. So he is like not in the village anymore. He's at home. He's recuperating. And then we have Bailey, who, like I said before, is a bartender in Chestnut Springs, like a local bar. And she is a Jansen, or her last name is Jansen. And the people in Chestnut Springs, they do not like the Jansen family because they are a family of thieves, drug dealers, and petty criminals. And Bailey, I think, is the only like girl in that family. But what I have gathered about the blurb in the back of the book is that this is like fake dating, fake marriage, because Bo offers Bailey a deal. Like if she takes his last name, Eaton, that will help her get a job around town because she's saving up money to leave Chestnut Springs because she hates it there and she hates the way that people treat her because she's a Jansen. And then Bo just wants some of his family just to like leave him alone because everyone's very worried about his like mental health after, you know, having this tragic accident with his burns and being in the hospital file. I am nervous to read this book because there is a huge age gap. I think if I remember correctly from the previous books, Bailey is like 21, 22 and Bo is in his 30s. So that is a huge age gap. I'm concerned about that because what does a 21, 22-year-old have in common with a 35-year-old? Like, come on, please explain that to me. So this makes me nervous, but I'm gonna have faith in Elsie Silver, like I had faith in her for Reckless, that this will be good. I am back with an update. I finished Hopeless. I am so sorry to have not updated you guys when I was halfway through it, but I ate this shit up. I binged it all in one sitting. Maybe it's because I'm just in the mood to read romance, but I read this so quickly. Also, the audiobook for this was only 10 hours and I listened to it at 2 times speed, so it was only 5 hours for me. So it went by very, very quickly. This is just something that if you are in the mood for mindless reading, this is it. I'm so surprised that I like this book. I'm gonna give it 4 stars, and I'm also gonna elaborate on the plot a little bit. So we have Bo Eaton, and if you have read the previous books, I guess this is kind of a bit of a spoiler, but he went MIA. He missed his transport from like rescuing somebody else from the military. He is a military man, which is really unfortunate. I had to get over the fact that he was in the military while reading this book. But anywho, he went MIA and I don't want to say kidnapped, but I guess he was held hostage, I guess. And he suffered some severe burns on his leg, but then he was rescued and reunited with his family and sent back home to the Eaton Ranch. But he was suffering like the burns, and that's left him kind of like, I guess, with a little bit of PTSD and some mental health problems. And at the very beginning of the book, he is kind of wandering, kind of a lost soul. And he spends a lot of time at the Chestnut Springs, that town's like local bar, where he encounters Bailey, who's a bartender there. Now, Bailey is a Jansen, and the Jansen family in Chestnut Springs is very looked down upon because the family is seen to be a group of thieves, petty criminals. So anyone associated with the Jansen or a family member is frowned upon. And so Bailey's biggest goal is that she wants to get out of the town. She's like, I don't want to deal with these close-minded people anymore. So she's saving up money so that she can go off to school or university and just get out of the city and get an apartment all of her own. And then Bo, his biggest struggle is that he feels like his family is smothering him because he has suffered this huge thing with like going MIA, being held hostage, and then having all these burns, that he's kind of like feels like he's being smothered by his family, always asking that he's okay. So one day Bo proposes a deal to Bailey. He's like, if you marry me and take my last name, he's like, I believe that will get you or help you get a job so that you can save up more money in town, because now your closest relation or your, link to me. And then what's in it for Bo is that he believes now that he can have like a fake girlfriend, fake fiance, that his family will leave him alone. So that's the kind of deal. So Bailey agrees to be Bo's fiance because she has a lot in it for her, and then Bo also has something in it for him. Problematic things in this book is that Bailey is, I think, 21 or 22. Bo is 35, and that is a huge age gap that I just cannot get on board with it. No. Can't get on board with it. And the other thing is that she is a virgin, which normally in a romance book, that would be like a red flag. I don't know why authors, especially female authors, feel like the need to use virginity as some kind of like kink for men. But the way that it was handled in this book is that it was handled very respectfully. Bo at times did question if he was too old for her and question about like taking her virginity. I just appreciated the balance that Bailey was just a very strong female character, and Bo did kind of question the decisions that he was making. I will say that the spicy level in this book, I think, is my right kind of spicy, because in the first book, Flawless, it was a little too spicy for me, and in the second book, Heartless, I was like, no, this is not the kind of spicy that I enjoy. And then the third book, Powerless, it was giving a little BDSM, if I'm being honest, and that is not something that I'm personally into. If you are, that's great for you. It's just not something that I'm into. And then Reckless had, I think I want to say it's like the least spicy of all the books, but this one dialed it up. It's like Elsie Silver decided to write the perfect level of spicy for me. I was gonna give this book 5 stars, but this thing happened in this book, and full spoilers right now, where Bailey is in bathtub one day and she is telling Bo how she's gonna shave her nether regions, and he comes in and Bailey allows him to shave her nether regions for her. And girly, I would never allow a man with a razor near my lady parts. Like, no. I would never trust a man with a razor near my lady parts. So that's just, no. I'm sorry, but Elsie Silver, why would you write that? That is just not okay. And I think most girls out there would agree that they would not allow a man with a razor down there. I think that's almost as bad as the scene in 50 Shades of Grey where he takes out her tampon. It's up there with that scene, definitely. I just really liked their chemistry and how they are together. I just really enjoyed this book as a whole. And I'm so surprised the last 2 books in the Chestnut Spring series were actually my favorites. I'm so surprised. I know at the beginning of this video I was waffling back and forth whether I would read the first book in the Salacious Players Club. I don't know why I always want to call it the Salacious Buyers Club. I don't know why. But that book would be praise, or reading Pucking Wild. And I think what I'm going to do is that I am going to read Praise because it is a shorter book. Pucking Wild is like over 400 pages, and the Salacious Players Club is a little over 300 pages, and the audiobook for that is going to be real quick because I will listen to it very fast. I think it'll be like somewhere around like 4 or 5 hours. So that is something that I can finish today. I'm gonna make myself a goal for myself that I will be finishing that book today. So let me go ahead and get started with reading Praise. Okay, I have finished Praise. Did I binge read this? Yes, I did. I absolutely did binge read this. It's also just such a quick and easy read. Like, why wouldn't you binge read it? And now I can tell you more about what this book is about. So we are following Charlie. Now she has just broken up with her boyfriend, Beau. It did kind of give me whiplash to read about another character named Beau after I had just finished, what is that name of the book? Hopeless? It's not Effortless. My brain just really wants to call that book Effortless. Hopeless. Like I said, whiplash to having to read about another character named Beau who was so different than the Beau that was in Hopeless. But Charlie was like, dude, I'm breaking up with you. You cheated on me. And she desperately needs the check back from the apartment, or the deposit back from the apartment that she had rented with Beau. But the check was sent to Beau's dad's house. And Beau, being an asshole, he's like, you can go to my dad's house and get the check back. Like, go get the money back. So Beau gives Charlie his dad's address, and Charlie shows up there and she's waiting in the dad's office. The dad's name is Emerson, by the way. And Emerson shows up in the office and he is thinking that Charlie is his new secretary, heavy air quotes on the secretary, because like I mentioned in my intro, Emerson owns, or is the CEO of the Salacious Players Club, which is a sex club. And that sex club is all about serving people's kinks and being able to be free and open with your kinks in a safe environment. And Emerson's kink is that he likes to be a dom and he wants to find a submissive. So being the owner of a sex club, his like friend Garrett, who also works at the sex club, has been sending him secretaries to be his sub. So he is under the impression that Charlie is just someone else that Garrett sent over to be his sub. So as he walks into the office, he tells Charlie to get on her knees, and Charlie, being so desperate to get this check back because she is kind of this cash-strapped kind of woman, she's like, okay. She's finding it a little bit weird. She's like, but why is he asking me to do this? And she's like, strangely, I'm okay with getting on my knees. Emerson is like, I think I like her being my sub. But he quickly figures out that Charlie is not a sub or someone there that Garrett has hired to play the sub role for him. And he's like embarrassed. He's like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. How much do I owe you? Here's $1,000 for that deposit for your rent. And Charlie's like, okay, thanks, goodbye. But she's also like, kind of like that. Kind of like being a sub, and she can't stop thinking about it, and neither can Emerson. And so he offers her a job to be a secretary, but this time for like a real secretary because he actually needs one. But then the lines quickly gets blurred and they enter into a relationship with each other. But the thing is, it's taboo because obviously Charlie dated Emerson's son, and then Emerson like, I need my son in my life because he's not speaking to, because he thinks that I'm like a freak because I own a sex club. So he's like, we cannot tell anyone about this relationship. Now that I've given you a little about the book, I think I'm gonna give this book like 3 stars. It wasn't bad, like it was just fine for a first installment in the series. I think because this is the first book in a series, Sarah Kate did tamp down on the spiciness. Not to say there's no spice in this book, because if I had to rate this book on a scale of like a 1 to 10 level spicy, I would give this a 7. It's definitely more spicy than this Pumpkin Spice Cafe, definitely more spicy than Reckless and Hopeless, but I have read spicier books pucking around anybody, and I think the focus in this book was really the relationship building between Emerson and Charlie. Now, one of my biggest problems with this book is the age gap. Charlie is, I believe, 21, and Emerson is well into his 40s. So I really had to overlook how big the age gap is here. Listen, I didn't have to overlook the ex-boyfriend's dad's trope, because I was like, I kind of like that taboo, but the age gap, don't think if I could get on board with that one. It would have been better if Charlie was at least 25 and her frontal lobe was fully formed. Then maybe I could kind of possibly get on board. But that is to say, I did enjoy it. I'm gonna give it 3 stars. It wasn't good, it was bad, it was like right in the middle of the road. I think I will continue on with this series. The next one, which is Eyes on Me, is following Garrett, who we got a little bit of a taste in here, and he is into watching others. he's into voyeurism. So it's not that I'm giving this series a second chance because I did like it, but I'm curious as to see what the rest of the books in the series is like. So 3 stars from me, and let's just go ahead and recap all the books that I read in this video. So the first one I read was Pumpkin Spice Cafe, which I'm gonna give 4 stars. Really enjoy this. The next book I read was Reckless, which I'm gonna give 4 stars. I'm so surprised that I like this because there is a baby aspect to it. I think it's just because I like Winter so much because she is a little bit of a bitch and I can relate to being a bitch. So maybe that's why I like this book so much. And the next one I read is Hopeless, which I'm also going to give 4 stars. Now that I'm realizing it, I gave the first 3 books that I read in this video 4 stars, which is shocking to me. But I really enjoyed this one. This one I think is my favorite out of the entire Chestnut Springs series books. And then the last book I read in this video is Praise, which I'm going to give 3 stars. This, reading whatever I want, I enjoyed it. And reading romance novels, really enjoyed it. Really enjoyed it. I think I might continue on in this string of just reading whatever I want. And what I'm in the mood for is to read more romance books. So don't be surprised if you see another video come out from me next week where I'm literally just reading romance books. But that is the way that my brain wants to rot right now. That is it. Those are all the books that I am going to read for this video. If you like this video, please give it a like, please subscribe, and please comment below. And I will see you in another video next week. Bye!